Hey everyone, I'm Kandyce.
I'm Latoya.
And I'm Sherelle.
And we are
Sistas Unscripted.
Thank you so much for joining us.
We are completely unscripted, where we talk about all the things, all the shit, whatever we want, from the eyes of Black sisters. So stay and kick it with us.
Let's get into it.
Hey everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Sistas Unscripted. It's just me tonight. Latoya is at rehearsal and Sherelle is on a flight somewhere doing her flight attendant thing. So the sisters are out in the world being productive, and I didn't want a week to go by without us putting out another episode. So tonight, I'm going solo. And honestly, this topic came from something I saw online that really got me thinking. And if I'm being honest, it kind of irritated me a little bit too. So just to give you a little bit of a backstory. So there's this woman that I follow on Instagram who does fitness content, dating content, as well as just other general lifestyle stuff. And she recently started kind of documenting this situation where a guy approached her at the gym. So she was recording her normal workout content. And this guy eventually walks up to her and tells her that she has dangerous eyes. I'm sorry, but please don't come up to me and tell me I have dangerous eyes, because it's a absolute definite no for me. But okay, sir, that's a line. Sure. Do your thing. But for me, no, thank you. But so they started talking, they exchanged numbers, and they actually started going on a date. They went on a date that night, actually, and they ended up going on several dates. So everything, seems normal. So later she posts the clip, but his face is blurred out. She mentioned to him that this is what she does. She records content, and she happened to actually get their interaction on camera and that she was going to post it. And apparently his whole entire body language changed, and she kind of kept a mental note of that. She posts the video, blurs him out. The video goes viral, like millions of views. I think it currently is at 4 or 5 million. It might be more than that by now. But she hadn't heard from him for, I would say, I think it was like a week and a half. Mind you, they'd been on like 3 or 4 dates and things were going really well. So the timing kind of seemed a little off for her. So she said that it was unusual based on how much they had been communicating, and then how all of a sudden he kind of ghosted her. So then he randomly starts texting her again, and he even calls her, which they hadn't done before. Again, the timing felt weird. And with the video going viral, he suddenly starts popping back up. So she starts feeling like something's a little bit off. And she never outright says it, but she kind of hints that the reason he might have reached out is because the video went viral and he didn't want it online anymore. So the way she hinted at it made it seem like maybe this man had a whole situation at home, like maybe he was married. And when I saw that, it really made me think. As a single woman, and especially as a single mom, so stories like that are honestly really frustrating to see, because when people are genuinely out there trying to meet someone and build something real, situations like this make you question everything. And you have people who are literally married or in full-blown relationships out here approaching people, flirting, going on dates, building these connections, and the other person has absolutely no idea. And it's just unfair to the person that they're dating. And it's unfair to their spouse too, or their partner, whatever their situation is. And I'm not just saying this, from the woman perspective. It's both sides. It definitely happens for men and women. There's someone at home thinking that their partner is being loyal and living their life normally. And meanwhile, this person is out here entertaining a whole other situation. And then there's the person who's genuinely single and trying to meet someone. And obviously they didn't sign up to be part of someone else's mess. They didn't know there was a whole family, a relationship, or marriage attached to the situation. And for me personally, that's just exhausting to even think about. And kind of going a little bit further into being a single mom, I don't really have time for games like that. I don't have time for any of that. And when you're raising kids and managing your life, your energy is already limited. So you're not out here dating just for entertainment. And, maybe there are people out there that are there doing that, and, good for them. That's their prerogative and no judgment. But if I'm getting to know someone, it's because I'm actually open to the idea of building something and something real. And so the idea of spending time getting to know someone, opening up, maybe even catching feelings, only to find out the whole situation was fake. Yeah, no. That's a no for me. And honestly, one of the things that makes dating feel so discouraging sometimes, because situations like this seem to happen more often than I think people even realize. So you hear stories about people finding out months later that someone had a whole spouse, girlfriend, or a whole life that they weren't honest about from the beginning. And it really just makes you wonder, why do people do that? I've never understood it. And especially with social media, knowing that, listen, the internet peeps are going to get you caught so quick. They see a picture of you and they're like, okay, this is John Doe. And he works here. Here's his address. Here's his phone number. Here's his wife, his kids, like whole storyline within a matter of whatever the internet turnaround is. So why involve someone in something that's dishonest? And honestly, it makes me think, if you're that unhappy in your relationship, so that's one thing, but bringing someone else into it without them knowing the truth, I just think that's unfair all the way around. And, I know there are people out there that probably are cool with having those extra marital or polyamorous relationships, but I think those types of situations, I mean, I don't know personally, but from people that I do know that are in situations like that, that stuff is disclosed up front, giving the other person, the third party, or how the fourth, fifth, whatever party it is, giving them the option to decide if they want to even entertain the idea. It just really made me think a lot, and just how frustrating it is that people just aren't honest. And seeing how these types of situations play out, it just is usually never a good thing. And, I genuinely feel bad for those people that are literally thinking that they're going to be meeting someone that is possibly someone that's going to be part of their future. And it just sucks. So, and I know not everyone is like that. There has to be good, honest people out there, right? And I'm not trying to be like jaded. I always do this. I have this little jingle where I go jaded, because yeah, I've had my fair share of interesting relationships. I think we all have at this point. But I know there are good people out there, but it doesn't feel like that there's a lot of them out there, which is disheartening and just really discouraging. I think stories like this definitely make you more cautious. At least it does for me. And it makes you think twice about even wanting to put yourself out there sometimes. Because when you're someone who takes relationships seriously, and I say that I would put myself in that category, you don't want to waste your time on, or your emotions on, something that's never real to begin with. And so when I saw that video this morning, it really made me think about how complicated dating can feel sometimes. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on that. And, have you been in any type of situation like this, or do you have friends or family members that have been in situations like this? I definitely am curious as to what your thoughts are. I genuinely am interested. I would love to actually have this conversation with my sisters, because I definitely think, I know Sherelle would probably bring a different perspective. LaToya might be a little bit similar to where I'm at. I think Sherelle would be similar to a degree, but Sherelle is really, really good at seeing all sides of things. So I'd be very curious to hear her perspective on it. But I want to hear your perspective on it too. Let us know. I really, really would love to hear some of your guys' stories. But yeah, it really, really it got me thinking. And it was this morning actually that I saw the video before I was heading into work. And it just kind of pissed me off. So, moral of the story, as my little brother says, be honest. Be nice to people. Let's put all of our cards out there when it comes to honesty and what you're looking for and where you're at in your life. I think the person that you're dating deserves to know that. At least that's my perspective. So, what do you guys think? Anyway, this is a really quick episode because it is just me. But let's go into the joy of the week. Joy of the week. It's so interesting doing this on my own. But I would say my joy of the week would be I got some time to myself over the weekend. I definitely miss my kids when they're gone. It's always a weird transition from having them for a week and then not having them because the house is so rowdy and messy and, all those things that come with having kids, but, in a good way. And then it's just gone for a week. So it takes me a minute to transition into, okay, it's me time. And I tend to really fill my time with things, but I really, really found an opportunity to just sit still. And I need to do that more. And I'm going to encourage you guys to do the same thing. Because sitting still sometimes is very, very much needed. And I have a tendency to feel guilty when I do that. But I force myself to do it anyway. So that's my joy of the week. And I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you so much for joining me for this solo episode of Sistas Unscripted. Maybe my next solo episode will be, because I know you guys have said that you guys wanted to hear from us individually, so I can maybe talk a little bit more about being the older sister and what that's like, because I love being an older sister, but I also have a lot of challenges that come with that too. You'll have to stay tuned to check it out to see when I do that. Thanks again for being here. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And please share our podcast so that we can continue building our audience. Like and share, review our podcast if you can. Give us 5 stars if you like it. You can follow us on all the socials at Sistas Unscripted, not sisters, Sistas. And you can also send us your emails, topics, questions, comments, shout outs at sistasunscripted@gmail.com. And I will leave our phone number in our show description. So thanks again, and we'll catch you next episode. Sistas out.